Welcome to Tailgate Talk, Season 2, Episode number 6. We have a special guest, Mr. Jeremey Houseright, with us today of the Gate City Blue Devils. Boys, let's get it poppin'. Coach, thank you for coming on with us today. It's an honor to have you on the podcast with us. Been a long time trying to get this one scheduled out. You're a busy man and everything, but we are honored to have you with us.
No, man, I'm just grateful for this opportunity, and I'm honored to be here with you guys. You guys do a great job with this stuff.
Man, we appreciate that and everything. Sean's not with us today. He's sick, so he didn't get to make the trip with us today, but we'll get on into the Week 2 college recap. We didn't have many college games to pick this time because I didn't figure any of the others was going to be worth picking, but they ended up being some really good games out there in college football world this week. But we do have number 4 Texas and the number 9 Michigan, and no, it wasn't too close. It was a little lopsided, wasn't it?
Daggone Texas burnt me twice last year, and they already burnt me again this year. I can't pick right on them.
I told you was going to get hooked, son.
Hooked.
I tell you, that's impressive what they were able to do. Go to the big house like that, and on national TV, and just
it was rowdy too, wasn't it?
Yes, and
Man.
they just took everything out of it. That was amazing.
If you want to know how to silence 100 and some thousand people, that right there is exactly how you do it. That is for sure. I just feel like Michigan lost too much to the NFL last year. Players plus their coaching staff, everybody's in the NFL. I just feel like that's kind of where they're at right now. They can still salvage their season. It's totally not over with yet. But I just don't see them being in the conversation at the end of the season. I really don't. What you got, K-Dog?
It's over for the Wolverines, baby. They look good at the first of the season, but it's over.
I don't even think they looked good in that first game because they were still quarterback shopping then,
Yeah, man.
But that was an awesome game. Like, that atmosphere was so amazing. But that's how you quieten them down right there. Put a dagger in them, son. All right, number 15 Tennessee 51, number 24 NC State 10. Some people say this is a surprise. It was not to me, to be honest with you. What do you say there?
I'd say a lot of people say, is Tennessee who we think they are? And I believe they might be. They sure did go and lighten NC State up this week. I know you can question NC State being in the top 25, but I think it's a pretty good test for Tennessee to see where they're at, and I think they're looking pretty good right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last few years Tennessee's been coming on pretty strong, and I don't know. I think they're one of the top teams in the country. Painful as that is to say, but
Absolutely.
But I mean, they look good, and that young quarterback, Nico, he's going to be a special talent, I think. And just the way Tennessee's defense played, that was very, very surprising, and it was fun to watch. I mean, they were flying all over the place.
I think Tennessee probably has the best front five in college football right now, and that's saying a lot because, I mean, Georgia's flipping loaded, Alabama's always tough in the front five, but I really think Tennessee's front five's very special. I think you better be paying attention to Tennessee. I mean, honestly, the Bama game when they play Bama, it is at Tennessee. I think the loser of that game is probably left out, especially if it's Tennessee, because it is a home game for Tennessee. And I think that hurts them a bit if they lose that game at home. But I think if they can win that game, or whoever went, I mean, they're going to be right there in the talk for this 12-man playoff system. And if they're playing halfway as good as I think right now is what they look so far. If they get in that playoff, they're going to be scary. Because Nico, man, he made a few mistakes. I mean, you could tell like this weekend, but I mean, he was chill. He came back out and brushed it off. I mean, as quick as it happened to him, it was gone. And I'm really impressed with him, and that pains me to say that, to be honest with you. It really does.
Oh, that's because you got to go work and hear about it every day, ain't you?
Oh, yeah, I do have to hear it, 'cause my boss at work's one of those, you know, and I mean, Tennessee, they still have some big stages to play on before all that can happen, but that Alabama game is going to be, I think, the staple of it. They said they still got to go to Norman, I think, don't they? So,
yes, in a couple of weeks, I believe.
Yeah, so that they survive that, and then Alabama's definitely. I think we probably know they're going to lose to Georgia probably, but I mean, who knows? But that's just one loss. I think they can't lose two. They can't lose two. But. Well, we had App State on here with Clemson, and I just put them on here because I thought, well, you know, they're the Giant Killers, so why not? Plus, Coach Carroll was on, and he's a big Michigan fan, so we wanted to rub that in his face a little bit. No, really, we didn't know that he was a Michigan fan until after the fact. But App State's no Giant Killer this time.
Yeah.
Clemson looked impressive in that one.
I thought all week long App State might pull it off, but man, did they get hammered early.
Early and often.
I've always liked App State. I like rooting for the underdog, and I like seeing them knock off big teams like that. But not this year, not today.
Well, App State is a team that usually they play really well in those big game situations. Like they definitely usually play way over their head, but they didn't in this one, that's for sure. Week 3 picks. We have number 20 Arizona taking on number 17 Kansas State. Neither one of these looked too impressive. I mean, they did. That the Johnson, the quarterback for Kansas, he's pretty tough, man. He can kill you with his legs. But now, well, who was it Kansas played? This Tulane. Had them on the ropes. But that quarterback for Tulane was real good too. I'll go first on this one. I got Kansas State.
Yeah, I'd have to say I'm gonna go Kansas State too. I think Arizona, they lost that quarterback they had last year, didn't they?
I'm not sure,
but I'm gonna go Kansas State with this one.
I'd say Kansas State.
All right, number 4 Alabama, Wisconsin. The Alabama game this week was Wisconsin could win this game because of that, but you talking about you had a team with 8 minutes to go in the game fixing to like tie it up, maybe take the lead, and then 8 minutes later you're down by 30 points. I mean,
crazy.
The last 8 minutes of that game did not tell the story of the way that game actually was.
No. Not that I think them little Florida schools down there, man. You can't underestimate them. I think last couple of years they've outplayed the bigger Florida schools down there in that part of the state. But yeah, that was a really interesting ball game there. But I don't think Bama going to let that happen twice. I think they'll handle Wisconsin pretty easy this week.
So you got
I got the Alabama Tide. Roll Tide.
Yeah, I mean it'll be a rowdy place to play in. Wisconsin's always got a great fan base, but I think at the end of it, Alabama pulls away again.
Yeah, I got the Crimson Tide in this one as well. This one right here could be interesting. Number 18 LSU, South Carolina. If the same South Carolina team shows up, that was this week.
Well, since Sean Jackson ain't here, I'm gonna dog these LSU Tigers out, and he can't do nothing about it. I'm going to take South Carolina for the upset, guys. I believe South Carolina is liable to put it on them if LSU don't wake up.
I think, It's a tough place to play in Columbia. LSU hadn't looked very impressive. You know, South Carolina didn't week 1, but this week they went to Kentucky and really put it on them. So I'm going South Carolina.
Give me the Gamecocks, boys. Yeah, all the way around the table. Boston College at number 9, Missouri. Boston College is another one of them giant killers.
They took out Florida, but I don't believe they're gonna beat the Mizzou. I'm gonna go Missouri in this one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a believer yet. Now, if they go to Missouri and win this week, then I'd pick them every time. But right now, I'm going Missouri.
Too much speed in Missouri. I got Mizzou in that one too. Number 7, Oregon State. Oh man, Oregon didn't look too good this week, really.
This one's gonna be easy for me because I'm a Duck fan. I'm gonna go Oregon Ducks, baby. The everyday wire right there.
I think this week Oregon finds their offense. I mean, they got that good quarterback, and I think he's finally going to get in rhythm this week. And I think Oregon's going to put it on them.
Hey, I'll take the Ducks as well. Number 5, Notre Dame, Purdue. I'll start this one out, boys. I'm going Purdue.
Purdue. I'm going to go with them little leprechauns. I'm going to say Notre Dame's going to wipe them off the field.
They're going to be more impressive than they was.
I think Notre Dame knows their back's against the wall when it comes to this playoff. I think they let one slip up. I don't think it's going to happen in Purdue. So I think Notre Dame wins.
Is it over for them yet?
Not yet. Now, if they lose to USC, it's over.
For sure. But I don't see them even making it to them before. Which, I mean, I know I just picked Purdue and I'm saying that, but I just figured everybody else would be going to Dame. But honestly, I mean, they had probably the easiest road to this playoff.
Mm-hmm.
In college football. Now, does this force them to be looking at getting in a conference from here on out?
I don't know. I'd like to see them in a conference just because, but
too.
But I mean, it's whatever. They've done that for how long? They've been an independent for as long as I can remember, and normally, they just haven't had. They got a few tough games on their schedule, and then every so often with the ACC agreement, they'll get a couple of the big dogs in the ACC, which, I mean, we all know what the ACC is, but
yeah,
I still think that if they went out and beat USC, then they're going to get in. Everybody in the media loves them. You know that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're going to have a little star beside their name, no matter what. But, I mean, let's say you take a team that's in a conference that's got a one loss, and that loss may have just came in the conference championship, and then you've got them there. I mean...
Yeah,
I mean, who do you choose?
Well, I mean, you take some of these SEC schools. Say like Tennessee. What happens if they lose to Alabama and Georgia, and both those teams are undefeated going into the conference championship game? How are you going to keep Notre Dame over Tennessee?
Exactly.
I don't like it, but that ain't the way it's going to work.
It's not the way it's going to work. That's for sure. I'm with you, but so we got 2 Dames and 1 Purdue here. Let's get on to number 1, Georgia and Kentucky.
Well, I'll go ahead and pick this one because it's pretty easy. I'll just take Georgia because Kentucky, they'd have to do major improvement to even play with Georgia.
Georgia by a lot.
By a lot. Yeah, I got the Dogs by a lot, too. Virginia Tech, ODU. Putting this one on there because all 3 of us is kind of got some Virginia Tech ties here, so I'm gonna take the Hokies, but it ain't been looking pretty. And ODU could upset them. I ain't gonna lie.
They've they've been upset by little teams the past couple of years here. This ain't nothing new, but
wasn't ODU one of them?
yeah, Marshall. I mean, upset them a couple of years ago, and they're known to get beat by little schools, and it's kind of embarrassing year in and year out. But I'm down on Virginia Tech, but I'll still take them over ODU.
I personally don't like this one. I don't like going to ODU. It hadn't worked out great for Tech the past few times they've been there. They lost 2 out of 3 maybe.
Yep.
But I'm still Hokie through and through, and I really do. I believe in what that coaching staff is doing. I've been up there a couple times and talked to them, and I like what they're about. And I'm going with the Hokies. I think they're going to start getting stuff on track, and they're going to try to make a run at this ACC.
They're going to have to get on track quick, Jeremy.
I didn't say it's going to take some time. They're heading that way, though. They got a big win yesterday. Even though it was ugly at times, they still pulled it out.
A W's a W. I don't care how ugly or pretty it is sometimes. I mean, a lot of times you want to see the flashiness and you want to see the high scoring, but a W is a W, ain't it? All right, let's get on into the high school football, Coach. We'll start with the interview now. Just give us a little lesson on your coaching experiences up to this point of your career.
I was fortunate back in 2007 when I got into it. Coach Collabro had a spot on his staff here, and he graciously let me come aboard, and I coached with him 07 and 08, those 2 years with him, and I've been around him pretty much my whole life when I was younger here at Gate City, and blessed to have those years. And then 2009, Dad took over, and you talk about 09 to 15, and just being able to learn from him, and just very grateful and appreciative of everything he taught me. And the longer we were together, the more he would expect of me, and more things he would let me try to figure out on my own. And just grateful for that opportunity. And then I stayed after Dad retired. I stayed a year with Coach Akers here, and after the 16 season, I decided it was time for me to try to be a dad for a couple years, and I took a year off from football, and then I took the 17 year off, and then in 18, Coach Cheyenne Osborne got hired at Rye Cove, and he called me up and asked me if I'd be willing to come help him. So I spent the 18 season out at Rye Cove with him, and just that experience alone, it speaks volumes. Him just reaching out to ask me if I would help him, and I'm just grateful for that year there. I learned a whole lot coaching at Rye Cove during that time, and in 19 this job came open, and I was fortunate enough to get hired here, and I've been here since 19.
It's definitely going a whole different direction now than what it was, and I mean, you've done a good job about getting the tradition, back.
Well, they say, when you get stuck in a spot where you're losing a lot of games, losing breeds losing, and it's hard to overcome that, and it hadn't been a bed of roses here. Since I've been back in 19, we've struggled. My first few years, we struggled a lot. I don't think we didn't have a winning record until a couple years ago, and but these kids, I mean, they make it all worthwhile. They come in here and they work hard, and they know they're playing for Gate City, and so they just battle. And a lot of people base success off wins and losses, but I don't. I base it off growth and watching these kids when they come in as freshmen to what they become as people, players, and everything by the time they leave here. And that's what I base off the success that I want to see. And we're blessed, and I've got a great coaching staff, and these kids are working hard, and we're trying to get it turned back around where we're supposed to be.
Yeah, you've done a great job. I mean, when you first came in, your numbers was low. You didn't have the kids out, and little success has helped in this too, but I mean, a lot of it, I think, is to you. I mean, the way the kids, you can tell they respect you and they love you back, because I really feel like because you show them love, and the love you showed and spilled into them too. And I mean, what was it when you first came here? 20-some players, maybe?
We had 36 my first year, and then second year we had about the same number, and then my third year we were down to 30. And we were still dealing with some of that COVID stuff where you have to be away for a while. And heck, we went to Lebanon and had 20 kids available. you know? So, and then, the following year we were fortunate enough, and next thing you know, we had 63 kids in one year. So last couple of years we've been right around the 50 range. And, that's, a few years ago we tried to figure out a way to really get these kids to think a little bit more than just like the wins and losses. So, I mean, you'll see these signs that we got up. It's above all else, and I'm not going to lie, I stole it. I got it from South Carolina. I saw something on one of their social media posts, and above all else, what that means is like we're going to love one another no matter what in this locker room. Above everything else, we're going to serve. We're going to give the best of us to serve the best of you. Is what we got. And it's in our weight room. And I think 3 years ago when Ethan Fleming was a senior and we introduced this stuff, I think the kids really grasped it. And us as coaches, that we talked about it before we did it, and everybody's on board with it. And we try to do the same stuff. I mean, it's not always perfect, and some people probably get mad, but I think the proof's in the pudding on what these kids are playing for now. It's not about wins and losses. It's about giving my best for the guy beside me, giving his best. And we don't want to let anybody down.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's one thing that I've noticed, and I think this is awesome, is no matter, and it's always, if you gauge any history, it just seems like it's always been that way. But I mean, you're seeing them now that they're still fighting, even if they're down. Mm-hmm. They're still fighting, and they're going to fight to that final whistle. And man, that's awesome.
Yeah, we preach to those kids. We was like, man, wins and losses will take care of itself. I said, these people around here, the only thing they want to see is they want to see you laying it on the line every second you're on the field. Yeah. You're going to make them proud. We want to honor the past with how hard we play, and we want to set the standard for the future with how hard we play.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Well, how would your players and staff describe you as a coach?
A tyrant. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. That's a good question for them. I would hope it. I would hope that they would describe me as a loving dude. I mean, a guy that cares more about the person than the player. I would hope so. I'd hope the coaches would say that I care about them as a person more than I do as the coach. And I think football is a big family thing, and I just think it's a branch off of your family at home. And when you walk in this locker room, we're all brothers, and I just hope they feel the family atmosphere here.
Oh, I'm sure they do, man. I'm sure they do, because the community can see it. I promise you that. The community can see it and sense it as well. Well, Coach, let's talk about this past week's game with Middlesboro. You guys was in a dogfight down there. Can you give us some insights on this game?
I mean, first I'm going to talk about the hospitality that Middlesboro showed us. I mean, they were extremely great to us, from the administration to the coaches to the players. I mean, it was just a great atmosphere. I love that field. I mean, it's very nice, and they fed us after the game, and they took good care of us. And I'm gonna give Middlesboro a lot of credit too. I mean, they might not be as good as they were last year, but they're pretty good. Yeah, and they've got some skilled kids everywhere, and they came out, they took the ball first, and they went right down the field and scored in a hurry. And they stopped us on 4th and short right around midfield. And I'm gonna give our defense some credit, because the first half, they after that first score, they really did their job, and they kept Middlesboro. They threatened a couple times, and they kept them out of the end zone. And while we were trying to get our footing offensively, and then the second half we made some adjustments, and we went out in the second half and we scored first two times we had the ball and got up 14-7. But I mean, Middlesbrough came back. I mean, after we took the lead 14-7, they came right back and one play scored a touchdown, 30-some yard touchdown pass. So, we were able to block that extra point, and defense made a couple big stops late to help us get that victory.
Yeah, you take a game like this, though. I mean, it really probably helps you somewhere down the road. Being in that type of game, where it's for these kids that already experienced that this early. It's going to help them. I liked watching us fight back. I mean, last week we had a little adversity, but nothing. We were never down. But this week we were down 7-0 the entire first half and early, and they just kept fighting and kept scratching and clawing, and just to see the resilience that they had to keep coming back, and even then when we shot ourselves in the foot and turned it over a couple times, the defense stepped up when they needed to, and then the offense got a few first downs, run some clock, and just watching them fight and continue to grow. I think it will help us as the year goes on. I do too. Well, you're talking about your defense. They have been pretty impressive this whole year. Over the first 2 weeks. Can you tell us a little bit more about that unit? And
we've got a bunch of guys back from the last couple of years that's got a lot of experience, and especially in the back half. Our middle linebacker Mason Hickman, he's a junior. He started as a freshman. Zach DePriest is a senior. He started as a sophomore, so this is his third year starting. Bryson Smith, he came in last year when we had an injury against Middlesbrough as a sophomore, and just never let anybody take that job back. I mean, and he's played exceptionally well. This is his second year starting. Gabe Johnson's, he started at corner for us. This is his fourth year starting now, and I think he's one of the best corners in Southwest Virginia, in my opinion. But he does a great job, and Keegan Light started at middle linebacker beside Mason last year as a sophomore. He's a junior, so he's got a year's of experience. And those guys, they really do a good job behind our front four, which is our front four is getting better, and they're doing a lot of good stuff. Nick Human's second year starting defensive end. Kegley started a lot of games last year, played a ton for us as a freshman, so he's a sophomore at defensive end too. So, I'm pleased with where these guys are at, and and our defensive coaching staff's done a heck of a job game planning the last 2 weeks and getting us where we need to be, and making some tweaks as we go along. And I mean, they're just playing hard. They're not thinking right now, and they're playing fast, and that's what we want to see.
What I like too is you're getting a lot of hats to the ball,
mm-hmm.
and that's important. I mean, I noticed, like, even in the college football this past weekend, if you get a lot of hats to the ball, if something happens, you're more than the possibility of you making it come your way, like on a turnover or anything, is, I mean, there's a lot to it, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen tip balls. If you got other people coming, then there it is for a pick,
mm-hmm.
or if a fumble, you're going to become more nigh recovering. That's what I'm trying to say. And getting them hats to the ball is very important, and you guys are. You're flying around, getting to the ball and stuff, and I'm pretty impressed with that. Kermit, you've watched a little bit of the stuff. I mean,
oh yeah, and that's the one thing I've talked about before at the beginning of the season about you all. No matter what kid you have out there or whatever, y'all play so much old school fundamental football. 11 guys around the ball at all times, no matter what kind of talent you got. Y'all are just well coached and fundamentally, old school type ball team. And that's what I love to see right there, 11 hats around the ball.
We had to make a little adjustment after that benefit game now. It ain't been a bed of roses so far this year, but the first 2 games of the season it has been. That benefit game, we kind of, I don't know what it was, but ever since we got into first week preparing for Richlands, it's like the light switch has gone on. So, I mean, and, we still got a long way to go. We got 8 games left, and there's a lot of things that can happen. But, if we play with that effort, we're going to give ourselves a chance, I believe.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Well, Walker Hillman, I mean, we're going to let you talk about some of the other guys too, because I know Walker ain't doing this just on his own, but he's been pretty impressive running the ball. So far on the year, I've got him right now, and if I'm wrong on some of this, you just let me know, but I've got him at 53 carries for 400 yards and 2 touchdowns, and that's in 2 games. And, I mean, there's some running backs that don't get much more than that in a year's time, so talk to us about Walker.
Last year, same situation that Bryson was in. Like, Walker came in against Middlesboro when we had an injury to a running back, and he just did some special stuff for us. I know we had a rough few games a couple times last year, but he still ran for about 1,100 yards, I think, maybe a little bit more than that. But I mean, he just runs so hard. I mean, you can rely on him to be the workhorse, and that's kind of what we've had to do the first 2 weeks of this season. And I mean, that's a lot of carries for 2 games, and but he's embraced it, and he does a good job of taking care of his body to where he's able to do that on Fridays. And just a great kid, hard worker, and I like watching him run the football. He runs it old school.
He does. Hard
nose. Run hard.
Hard nose.
Watching that Middlesboro game, I thought that's what y'all done good. After halftime, y'all come out and seemed like y'all was determined you're going to drive the ball right down their throats and penalty free and best thing about it, and y'all done pretty good at that after halftime, and I thought that was a big difference in the game. You seemed like you was determined. Hey, we're gonna just run the ball down the field and put it in the end zone.
Yeah, what we was doing early, we had a couple drives early that ended up getting, backed up a penalty and got us in a situation we don't want to be in, 2nd long, 3rd long. That's tough for what we do best. And, so at halftime, the offense coaching staff said, man, let's just line it up and see what happens. What's worst case scenario? We have to punt? I mean, we've done it most of the game anyway. So, it worked out good for us, and give a lot of credit to our offensive line and the lead blockers too. I mean, they started moving bodies, and and that helped Walker get some creases there late.
Oh yeah, they were definitely making it rough on Middlesboro's front. And when you start seeing attitudes change on the other team, a little pushing, they're getting aggravated. When you're running it down their throats, that's when you know you're doing good. And you could see them getting frustrated. I mean, you guys just flat wore them out up there. You might have wanted to see it a little bit better but I mean, I'm telling you, man, it looked good on what we've watched on film with it. Well, who else you got that's helping Walker out in your backfield, and some more of your specialty players?
I think Corey Bird the last couple of weeks he's done a good job. He's a special type of kid. He can run, and against Richlands, he probably carried the ball 4 times and had almost close to 100. He had 90-some yards on 4 carries, and 82 of it or 85, something like that, came on 1 carry. I mean, he hit the seam and was out of here. And I thought at Middlesboro we got him a little more carries, and he carried the ball extremely well. We got Hickman that comes in there in the backfield with Mason, with Walker and Corey some, and he's a good lead blocker. And then you're about pretty sure he's going to get you 1 or 2 if you need it. And Eli Parsons, freshman, he's stepped up and he's playing pretty well for us right now.
He looked real good at Middlesboro. Yeah,
in the backfield, he's blocked his tail off for those guys, and he got him a touchdown at Middlesboro. You got Gabe Johnson on the edge outside at wide receiver who does a good job for us, and right now those guys are doing a good job of embracing their role and blocking out there when we call them to block. And Garrett McLean, he's doing the kicking duty. He was a freshman last year and kicked for us, and he's doing a pretty good job for us right now. And and we just got guys that are playing hard and getting after it. The front offensive line last couple of weeks, they've played extremely well. You had Nick Humans at center. Guard, you got Nathaniel Sloan. The other guard's Nathaniel Gillum. And our 2 tackles is Eli Miner, which is a freshman, and then Judd Kegley, which is a sophomore. So all those guys, you got 3 juniors and a sophomore and a freshman. So, I mean, the more reps they get this year and the better they get as the year goes on, the better they're going to be for us next year too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, you got a big matchup coming up this week with it's a district game in Abingdon. Can you give us a little insight on what you've seen so far? Or?
You know, Abingdon's they're big. They're big and they're physical and they're going to run football. And, you know, we had a hard time with it last year. They came down here and they beat us 17-14. And, you know, they kept the ball about the whole first quarter. We couldn't get off the field defensively. Ended up stopping them inside the 10. But, I mean, they're strong. They're physical. They're gonna run it right at you, and you got to try to stop them. And, you know, Coach Amberg, done a heck of a job with those guys ever since he's been there. And, you know, year in and year out, it seems like the same thing. They just reload with size and strength, and they come right at you. And you know, we've got to be very disciplined defensively, and we've got to deliver some blows too when we get an opportunity. And you know, offensively, we've got to continue to grow and get a little bit better in places. And you know, their defense is flying around right now, and they're playing pretty good. I mean, they had a big win against Christiansburg Friday night.
Crazy ball game. Crazy.
Yeah, it's so I know, you know, we've got our work cut out for us. And you know, I think Abingdon's picked at the top of one of the teams picked at the top of the district preseason. So you know what you're going to get. They got a bunch of those guys back from last year, and last year they made a heck of a run at it. So,
well, it's kind of a different scenario going into it this time too. 2 years ago, you guys were on a 0-2 going into it. Won that game. It sparked you all. Y'all went on the run. Last year, they were 0-2 coming in. They won, sparked them. Now, both of them's 2-0 coming into this.
Yeah, it's probably been a while since both of us has been 2-0 going into this ball game. We're undefeated, and you know, I think it'll be good. I think it's going to be a heck of an atmosphere. I think it's going to be an old school football game. I really believe that, and you know, we just got to go out and give it all we got and see what happens.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this game. I really feel like it's going to be closer than some people may think it's going to be, and everything.
3 yards in a cloud of dust, baby.
Might be 3 yards in a pile of mud. It's supposed to rain, maybe, ain't it?
I hope so. That kind of helps us, I think. Well, Kermit, you got anything else before we move into this?
Other than that Abingdon running back, man, you can hold him 15 plays at the line of scrimmage or for 3-4 yards, but man, once he gets past that second line, he is gone.
Yeah, he's special.
Him and Honaker, they're both. Honaker played big for him this last week, and man, I tell you, it's hard to stop that 1-2 combination right there all game. Because I mean, you don't stop them just 1-2 plays. You're gonna have to stop them all game. It's gonna be a tough one.
It is, and you know, they got, besides their big linemen and stuff, like you said, they got those athletes too that, I mean, if you fall asleep, they're going to hit you with something on a play action pass, and it's going to burn you big time. So we've got to be extremely disciplined and willing just to lay it all out there for 4 quarters.
Oh, yeah. They also got that big tight end too, man. And
he's taken double teams all year so far pretty good.
Yeah, he's a load.
Well, is he a sophomore? I believe he's a sophomore.
I think he's a junior. He's a freshman 2 years ago, and I think he was a sophomore last year. I think.
Is he D1?
He's got the size.
I think he's getting some looks.
I think he is getting some looks. He's a heck of a football player.
He is, man. He's big. Well, we had Union 53, Richlands 0. Union still flexing their muscles, and Richlands is still. Oh, man. Not did we think we'd ever see Richlands go 0-10 once, but it looks like that may happen twice.
Well, if you count their preseason games and all that. I think they're about what right now? They're probably 0-16 or something. Unreal, unheard of for Richland. So nobody never thought that dynasty would fall like that. I know I never dreamed of it, but it's got so embarrassing they quit showing their games on TV. You can't even find the game on TV, but they wasn't much to watch evidently.
Dog. Lehigh 28, Thomas Walker 21. This game ended up being a little closer than I expected it to.
The barn burner, baby. Barn burner. I'm going to tell you what. I believe if Thomas Walker would have played the second quarter, this game would have went a different way. That's about the only quarter Thomas Walker didn't play in this game, and Lehigh pulled away with it in the second quarter, but Thomas Walker just kept trying to come back, and turned out to be a pretty decent ball game.
We just spoke on this one. Middlesboro Gate City game, so we'll skip out on it. Abingdon 31, Christiansburg 28.
Crazy ball game, wild ball game. I still don't know who's the better team. If you name it, it happened. They was so many fumbles, interceptions. It just went all crazy in this ball game right here. Abingdon had opportunities. If it wasn't for special teams, Abingdon could have been down very easily, 21-0. And you can't take that away from Abingdon. That's what the game's about, special teams. But now the turnovers and all that stuff going on, it was just plumb crazy.
Yep. Wise Central 28, Marion 13.
Well, wait a minute. Let's back up here. Let me ask Jeremy something. If somebody was kicking off, say your team was kicking off, and they kicked an onside kick, the other team had a guy laying on the ground. He barely puts his hand on the ball, but the ball gets loose, and then your team jumps on it, and the referees can't make a decision. They tell you to re-kick. What would you say?
Oh, Lord. I don't know, man. I don't know what I would do. It'd be wild. I don't know. I'd hope I'd be calm, but I can't make no promises on that.
I told Aaron, I said, you got to watch this ball game. I said, the referees couldn't make a decision, and told Christiansburg to re-kick off her. And that would have been a big game changer going into halftime. And man, I know Christiansburg fans didn't like it. I've never seen that in my life, that they couldn't make a decision.
And then just make them re-kick it,
I think we kind of seen that up at Graham last week, and Graham had a fumble, and the referees didn't want to make a decision on it, so they said there was an inverted whistle in the bleachers that they replayed the down.
Unreal. Well, Wise 28, Marion 13. Wise got them a win, so.
One for the good guys, baby.
Ridgeview 46, Grundy 0. 35-7 John Battle, Virginia High. This one was close at half. It was 7-0. Virginia High come out exploded in the second half to make this one a little more one-sided.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I don't think Channel 5 will ever come to a Virginia High ball game again. I reckon at the beginning of this game, the first half, the announcers was blaming it on Channel 5 being there, is why Virginia High wasn't playing good, or they too much attention to them, or they come out on the wrong side of the stadium this time. They was using every excuse in the world. I said, Channel 5 hears this, they'll never come back out to Virginia High.
Okay, yep. Twin Springs 39, Unaka 20. Now, Honaker 49, Castlewood was 7. Chilhowie 34, Burton 7. Rock Cove got another lopsided 62-0 win. They've not gave up any points this year, have they? On defense. East Side 46, Hurley 12. All right, last week on the Pickens, Sean was 10-2. Kermit was 11-1. Aaron was 11-1.
Woo.
So that takes our overall standings now. Sean is now 20-5. Kermit is 23-2, and Aaron is 23-2. And we're gonna get into our week 3 picks. Coach, if you whatever you want to do here, if you got something to say it. Whatever. But up first we have Burton and Patrick Henry. Kermit, go ahead, and then I'll pull up Sean's. He sent his and in to me.
Well, this one ain't too hard. I think I'll take Patrick Henry on this. I think them and Royal Retreat are probably the 2 best teams up there in that region. In the Hoagie, they in the Hoagie, ain't they?
Who's that?
Patrick Henry and Royal Retreat.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's probably your 2 best ball clubs up that way. So I got Patrick Henry.
Sean's also got Patrick Henry. You got anything, Coach? Or
just Patrick Henry, man. They do a good job of running that football, and they've been doing that for years. And they're usually got some big, strong linemen. And I know Norton's they're trying to build their way back up, and I think it might be a little better game than most people think.
All right. Well, when teams fail to pick up the blitzes, its quarterback often finds himself passing vertically. I've got Patrick Henry 45, Burton 15. Thomas Walker, Castlewood. Sean has Tommy Walker.
I tell you what little bit I've seen of Thomas Walker this year. I would have to agree with their coaches. I do believe they are a much improved ball club, and I got to take Thomas Walker in this one.
Thomas Walker will put together 2 consistent halves, and Castlewood won't. Thomas Walker 32, Castlewood 18. East Side, Fort Chiswell. Go ahead, Kermit.
I think Eastside's learned how to win this year, and I think they pulled off to a pretty good start with a big win over Wise and a dominating win there last week. Went to that ball game, and they dominated every phase of it. And I'm gonna have to go for Eastside in this one.
Yep. Sean also has Eastside in this one. The Spartans are starting to walk with a swagger of confident football team. Winning breeds confidence. I got Eastside 34, Fort Chiswell 14. Ridgeview Wise. Sean has Ridgeview.
This is a home game for Ridgeview, and I'll take Ridgeview in this one. I think we'll find out a little bit more about Ridgeview this week.
Yep, I got them. Looking the Wolfpack to go deep in the playbook, and often too. Ridgeview 42, Wise Central 14. John S. Battle, Hostin. Go ahead, Kermit.
It's going to be an interesting ball game right here. It's a Thursday night game. I believe I'm going to go John Battle. They're going to pull out their first win this year against Holston.
Oh, son. Sean has Holston in this one. The Cavaliers are trained in horsemanship. Sorry, Trojans. Holston 22, Battle 14. Virginia High Radford. Sean has Radford.
This is an interesting game right here because Radford, I really still don't know a lot about Radford. They looked good against Abbott and then turned around and got killed against George Wythe. And I think Virginia High with the talent they got, and I think if they play a full 4 quarters instead of half a ball game, I believe they got the talent to beat Radford. But this is a home game for Radford. I believe I'm going to go for Radford.
Yeah, I'm going Radford on this one as well.
It's a tough place to play, man. Up there at Radford is.
Oh, it is, man.
But I like what Coach Patterson's doing at Virginia High. He's done a heck of a job since he's been there. And you look at Coach Christ up there at Radford. Since he's been back at Radford, man, they've won it last year, and they've made some runs in it ever since he's been there. It's got a making of a great football game.
Oh yeah, they're turning out athletes too.
Mm-hmm.
Man, they turned them out. Graham 28. Oh wait. Graham George Wyeth. Go ahead, Kermit. Well, yeah, Sean wanted Radford. Go ahead while I get Sean's up here.
This is it's going to be a real interesting ball game right here. It's going to be in Bluefield. I don't know if they're still when's their football field going to be ready down there, you reckon? They're still playing on that college field.
I think the stands is what they're waiting on.
But I tell you, we talk about App State being a giant killer. I think it's George Wyeth and Single A, man. They're a giant killer. They absolutely put it on Radford, and I think Graham's still a great ball club, but I think they're down just a little this year, and I believe George Wyeth might go up there and pull off an upset. I'm going with George Wyeth.
Sean has Graham in this game, and I'm like you. I mean George Wyeth, they're tough. They've always been a tough football team, but I still think Graham might be just a little bit too much for him. I got Graham 28, George Wyeth 27. Tazewell Richlands. Sean has Tazewell, by the way.
I tell you, Richlands, we know what they've got right now, but Tazewell, they had one of the best quarterbacks in the league last year. They definitely ain't played up to it this year so far, but I still take Tazewell over Richlands.
There are people who like to wallow in past glories. The Tornadoes are losing their edge. Tazewell 35, Richland 7. Lebanon, Marion. Go for it,
Man, it's Lebanon team. They've caught fire. got one great quarterback. They're protecting them pretty good up front, and he's got some really good receivers to throw to. I'll take Lebanon over Marion.
Sean also has Lebanon. I'm beginning to get some respect from the Pioneers community. Lebanon 45, Marion 12. Rocco Honaker.
I think, in my opinion, Rocco's been waiting for this for a long time, and I really think Rocco's in the position to go up there and lay it down on Honaker, and I believe they're going to do it. I'm going to go Rocco.
Sean says Roll Cove. The Eagles are coming in soaring and scoring, and those Tigers can't stop them. Rocco 42, Honaker 16.
Yeah, that's a big early game for Region 1D.
Yeah, it is.
That's a big game early in the season.
Oh, it is.
The winner of that's going to have a big step up and getting that home field advantage throughout the region playoffs. So I mean it's going to be a good one.
Union Science Hill, big game.
Giant game.
I see there's going to be a lot of people at this one.
I like that. I like Coach Turner going and playing Science Hill. A lot of respect going and doing that, and that help. You go play Science Hill, or you get to play a DB or somebody like that, and you're going to know where your team's at right now. I got a lot of respect for this series. I hope it's one that they're able to continue to do, and one of these days I'd like to get in something like that myself.
Shoot, yeah.
I'd just like to say, not just the Union, but the Gate City, big ball games this week, man, and a lot of people's going to say you can't do it or this or that. And, man, when I was a kid playing ball, I used to love it when I played at Appalachian. They'd tell us we couldn't beat Big Stone and Thomas Jones or Gate City. Man, that just made you want to go out there and prove the world wrong because ain't nothing these guys picking these games can do to make you win a game or lose a game, but it sure can help fire you up to go out there with the desire to prove them all wrong. And I hope Union and Gate City both does this week, goes out there and tries it, because it's like Houseright said, it's about these kids, man. And these kids, take it and let it fire you up and go out there and use it, to your advantage. Go out there and put it on these big boys and don't listen to nothing anybody says about you. But it is a David versus Goliath game right here. Science Hill and Elizabeth is a brother game, big brother, little brother. But this is a David versus Goliath, and I think Union done a credible job with Science Hill last year. All the way up to late in the third, and then they give up a big fumble and let Science Hill pull away a little bit, and you can tell they held their heads down kind of. Union, don't go up there and hold your heads down this time. Go up there and do all you can. But now I watch Science Hill against Elizabeth, and ain't nothing could stop them but themselves against Elizabeth. And they've got 4 running backs, and all 4 of them do one thing. They run downhill, and they run downhill hard. And but I'm going to pick Science Hill this week.
Man, Sean has Science Hill as well. But you talking about David versus Goliath. If I recall correctly, David won that fight. The Bears' winning rally will only take a few minutes. It will be great entertainment in front of a capacity crowd. Give me the Bears 27, the Hilltoppers 24.
Woo!
Gate City, Abingdon.
I'll
just go ahead and tell you, Sean is anti-Gate City no matter what. He's got Abingdon on this one.
Oh, man. I love this game too, man. It's going to be like we just sat and talked about. It's going to be one of them old school games, there's going to be a lot of running in it, hard hitting, clashing. It's what you got to love to see about football, man. And but I swear, I think Abingdon may be the best team in the district or region this year. I got to go Abingdon in this game.
Well, I like what Coach was saying a little bit earlier about how the boys fought, and they keep fighting no matter what. So the momentum will shift in the Devils' favor after 3 quarters of poor execution and undesirable field position. I got Gate City 27, Abingdon 21. So that's all the pickings we got this week. Coach, we'd like to thank you once again for coming on board and doing this with us and everything. And we know you're busy, and we sure do appreciate you taking the time out to join us, buddy.
Oh, Lord, no. I appreciate you guys asking me. I mean, this is fun, and it's an honor to be on here with you guys. Like I said earlier, you guys do one heck of a job. I've listened to it ever since I got wind of it. I listen to it about every week now, so it's awesome. I thank you guys for asking me to be a part of it.
I could tell just sitting here listening to you talk about your kids at the beginning of the podcast there, that you're an emotional coach and what you're saying, you really love your kids and respect them more than anything. And I tell you, and that's what it's about, and that's why we try to get you coaches on here, because y'all know a whole lot more about these kids than we do. A lot of times we just seeing their numbers and seeing them on the field, but y'all know the ins and outs and everything about your kids, and I think it helps get them out there a little bit better with you coaches talking about them and telling everything about them, and it's big for these kids, and we're hoping to get some kids on the podcast and do something special, with kids.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, we're hoping that takes place soon. So, is all hearts and minds clear? Until the next time, peace.